now. So you can go and check your channel cats. It should be streaming now. I hope it's streaming to yours. I think I put your key in. We'll find out. But it should be streaming down to your channel. So if you want to say hello to anyone or wait for 5 minutes, see who comes in.
I don't see her live.
Me either.
Check my channel in case it's streaming to mine.
I see it now.
Ah, it's there.
I see it now.
Drop cats the link. Drop them the link in APM. And they can all jump in and interact if they want. Or we can, if any want to come on the panel, tell them.
Okay.
We can pass them the link in the back chat.
I don't see it. Put it in the back chat so I can click on it because I don't see it.
Put the watch page in the back chat, yeah, and then they can all click it.
Okay.
Is anyone in the stream yet? I can't see
Patrick,
the I can't see the chat.
Hello.
Mic check, everyone. Just to make sure we're streaming through okay. Hello, Patrick. I can't see the chat. Yeah, we're streaming.
I can't see it.
You have to get the link from the. Can you drop the link to the watch page in back chat one?
Yep. Let me get
I got
that
it. I got it. I got it.
Okay.
Don't forget to mute it. Well, just pause it. It doesn't need to play really. Save your computer some resources if you pause it.
Okay.
Just use it for
Hi, Patrick. No, this is my channel, Patrick. Good morning, everyone. It's Friday. Yay.
Good morning.
Good morning, peoples.
Well,
We just thought we'd do a random stream chat. Cats wanted to catch up, so.
Yeah, so anyways, okay, one start. I don't know where you guys left off of the live stream. It's been a while.
Oh.
But let's talk about a little bit of why we having these weathers. I know it's man-made, but a lot of it can also do with the halos. Can you explain if it's connected with these weathers as well?
Oh, that's for you, one.
For me? Well, I mean, what I can talk about is when we were discussing like water and winds.
Okay.
Me and FPV had a hangout and we went over water and looked at different currents and wind currents and matched it up with, well, the angels, right, FPV?
Yeah, the accelerators, the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio people seeing everywhere. It's the technology, the accelerators that's creating it. That rotating toroidal field, that's, it's rotating upwards. We've put it down before to the winds, tornadoes, lightning. There is a connection there between the accelerator and the projections that we call halos in the sky. What mainstream are calling sundogs, basically. We're going to do a video a bit more about those coming up shortly and get more videos and proofs of them and what it relates to. But yeah, definitely 100% connected to the winds. It's technologically controlled, and if you can tamper with that technology, then you can change weather patterns, and I think they've been doing that for quite some time. If you know how it works, you can manipulate it. 100%.
Yeah. And they are.
I know that a lot of like lately there's been a lot of destruction, and I know it's man-made, but we also know that it can connect to the halos.
Yeah, they played a very major part in it, in all of it. There's not just one or two, these are everywhere. This is the 144,000 from Scripture, basically sealed below, all playing parts in manipulating and moving those lights around in the sky and creating weather patterns that we call nature.
Yeah. I don't remember which state it was, but they were full of chemtrails. I seen a video, and oh my God, it was pitch white. Like here, it's always pitch white. But it's so sad, you know?
Happens here a lot too, where we just have that complete overcast of very thin, wispy chemtrails.
Hmm. Like here, when the storm hit us, on the top of the clouds, before it came, you could see all this, the chemtrails that there were above the clouds. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, they're putting it in the clouds. And then the storm came, but you know, when it comes, it clears it out. But for meantime, before that happens, we have chemtrails through the clouds coming down. It's weird, but yeah.
You'll have to say hello to the chatters. I can't see who's in chat.
Okay. We have Money Mike, which I'm glad he's here. Hi, Money Mike. And also we have John Brooks. Thank you guys for coming and supporting this channel.
Patrick Jane was here too. Don't know.
Mm-hmm. Gerardo Night. Hello. Good morning, y'all.
Or evening, if you're this side of the world.
Oh yeah, UK is in evening already, you guys. So I don't know what part of you guys are from. I'm from the west side, so it's almost 9 o'clock.
West side of the world.
And,
West side of
It's
the
about
realm.
11 here, 11 a.m. Central.
yeah, it is. But I know on the weather it's man-made, but also I feel that the halos underneath are working with it as well. What do you think, One and FPV?
Yeah, it's pretty much what we went over in the last video we made. One was showing how it connects to the currents in the seas. You know, it's obviously playing roles in tidal movements, as well as the luminaries crossing over these locations. There's a good idea we thought about. We haven't done it yet, but there's a good idea that we thought about where we can trace what's creating a certain movement down there and relate it to something else.
Yeah.
So we're getting lots of ideas. It's just getting the free time and the animations and work put it together into another presentation. You know, what one's always busy, and you one. If she's not working all the time like you, Kat, she's buried in research.
Yeah.
You know, one does pretty much all the research legwork in the background, don't you, one?
Well, I'm good at finding information, and you're good at deciphering it.
Yeah, I think you've got the harder role because you have to do all the legwork finding out what makes it work. I can say that's making it. I can say such and such is making it work, but we still have to prove it, don't we? And that's where one's work comes in. She goes through it all correctly, and we rule things out until we're left with the possibility of what it really is.
Brian Knight, it says that he have a video of Mary and Angels.
He had what? Say again.
Brian Knight said he has a video of Mary and Angels.
A video of Mary and Angels.
Can you put a link in, Brian? Because what I would say, based on our theories, is that you're seeing something that's being projected up that has crossed over the projector, right? Maybe?
I'm not sure what he's referring to, so I can't comment yet.
Yeah,
he has it on his channel. We can probably look at the link. I'm not sure. It's up to y'all.
Yeah, what you're seeing in the skies is really phenomenon that's generated below. And there would, like one said, there will be crossovers of things and events happening that we can't actually explain yet, but neither can mainstream. They can tell you the story of what they think it is, as long as it supports the globe. But our research proves the opposite. It's not a globe.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sandra.
And
Sandra retrieved the link.
a lot of things out there can be answered by the technological process of how it works.
Yeah.
This is where we're coming from.
So with Nibiru by Sumerian was a stationary turning point, is how they described it. So my ideas of Nibiru are going to be quite a bit different than most people's. I don't think it's a planet coming at us that's going to hit us. It's a turning point, so that means it's a stationary point, and there could be more than one, where these luminaries are traveling through. I only brought it up because he said he has a video of angels, demons, Nibiru, and Nemesis.
Yeah. But I really believe that the halos are working with the weather pattern, even though it's man-made. You know, like here, it went really like the 3-digit 100, and I'm gonna say 108 to all the way to the 80s. That's almost 20 degrees lower. And then right now, at night it's like 60. So it went really down. So for us it's good, but there's must be an explanation why. I know it's because of that the Rosa hurricane. But
Well, and if we look, the north has been having a lot of quakes, and I'm sure that the earthquakes are changing the seasons. They move north and south based on where the sun needs to move. So the sun is being pulled further south for us people in the north right now, because we're going to hit our fall and winter, and they're going to be going into their summer. So if the north quakes are hitting, it's going to be pushing down that north wind that's said by Enoch that's where the fierce winds come from, is the north, and the snow and wind, dew, and rain.
yeah, it
And the
just
quakes are the triggers. It's pushing it. It's pushing the pressure, so we get the cold. It's going to cool things down eventually. It's been really hot here too, though, lately.
yeah. I mean, I know there's been big earthquakes. Um, there's been a lot of floods in different states. We did. We're supposed to have big storms this weekend. Um, it's just so weird, you know. But I mean, we need it. We need the rain, but at the same time, we don't need the floods, right? And I know that we've been so dry here that that's why we have floods. So,
I seen there was something about, I think it was in Mexico, they were blaming Volkswagen for lack of rain. Something to do with engines or something they were experimenting with.
yeah,
I think I read something like that recently, like, weather manipulation caused by something created by Volkswagen. I'm not sure what they're testing there, but yeah, that sounds like something someone should be looking into.
yeah,
More weather modifications going on. It doesn't sound for the good either if they're lacking on, when they need rain for the crops. If it's interfering with that, then it's going against what you need, isn't it?
yeah. It's I mean, do you think is it the halos is connected, or I mean, give me your thoughts on the halos about this weather pattern.
They're
One,
always connected.
connected.
Go on, one, let you have a chat, talk about it.
Who, me?
Issue.
Well, both of you, you guys, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I thank you both for doing a lot of research and spending your time. I know it's a lot of work. One, I know you work as well. Um, but we gotta set this straight. I mean, you guys put a lot of hours. I mean, I really think more than 8 hours a day or maybe six. I'm not sure, but I'm thankful that you guys are doing this because we still need to understand the underworld and how it works, you know.
Yes, we do. It's been depicted everywhere. You know,
Yeah,
when that's what we've done basically. You know, when we've seen the globe failed, it doesn't work. Then you start looking at other models and maps, and they don't work. Then you start doing your own research. So this is what I've done independently, and what Juan did independently. We were both in the background, unknown to each other, debunking various maps with our own various researches. And then one bumped into the me on the stream. I mean, I can't remember it was that. And I give one the
yeah.
maps because one was doing earthquake data and stuff like that. So that's how it started, you know. And then we started making sense of this grid and how it works with real world events. And it's just progressed, you know. It just gives and gives, doesn't it, one?
Yes. I'm curious where Brian Knight is located.
I'm not sure. Brian, where are you from? I forgot.
To see Nibiru in our sky, use polarized sunglasses to see the dark patch in the northwestern sky. So when I place Nibiru,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
so
Is it?
Nevada. Well, when I placed Nibiru, it was placed in the Gulf of Mexico. And over, I can't remember exactly how many years, but it was quite a few year span. It only moved a couple miles actually to the south. So it's actually
Right.
sitting south west of Mexico, and that's where it's kind of been. So, like I said, Nibiru is a stationary turning point according to ancient Sumerian texts. And these ancients, we need to listen to them. They knew exactly what was going on with the underworld. They knew how it worked, and they knew when it was going to happen. And they based it all on the luminaries of the sky. So why? Why did they do that? Well, because the luminaries and the heavens are the roadmap to the underworld. So by learning what the stars, planets, moon, and sun and all that is doing, you learn the trend of exactly what's going to happen when it's going to happen. Well, how? Because it's a timed system. It's designed that way. It's not going to
Mm.
change. I don't believe Nibiru is a planet coming at us. Not at all. I think it's mechanisms in the underworld. Stationary turning points, just like they said. That's what I think about it.
Yeah, that's where I was going with the globe. You know, when you debunk the globe, you go back to what was once known, and everywhere we've looked ever since, it's depicting the underworld and how it works. What it neglected to mention or failed to describe with technical terms, well, in scripture it does anyway, it misses out on a lot of terms, is the technology involved that's creating all this. But when you start looking at the geoglyphs, petroglyphs and hieroglyphs and decoding those, they're actually showing you what they are, these parts of the components, on a grand scale. You know, you look at the
Mhm.
Nazca
Mhm.
lines and they're just the blueprints of technical layers in the underworld. So, you know,
Okay,
this is what all
so
this research is based on, the technology involved and how we're revealing it.
Brian said it doesn't
Mhm.
reflect light, so it leaves a dark patch in the sky. Well,
Very possible. You know, if you're looking in the right place at the right time, I think under certain conditions you will be seeing things we're not supposed to see, such as these halos, these things they call in sundogs. We're not supposed to see those, but we are. And that's, you know,
and let's not.
that's giving away layers in the
Okay.
underworld and how it works.
and don't rule out these
Now I have
dark
a question for.
patches. Sorry.
I have a question for you two both. Oh my lord, I just forgot. But oh, the scientists that or whoever you talk to at PV about this, explain a little bit what he liked about your video um, not long ago that you did.
It could
Isn't
be.
there one that connected
Yeah, I
or
think
contact you?
no, I haven't been contacted. No, but I did use Roger from Mud Fossil University's particle acceleration videos and clips that he's been working on. You know, he's told people been working on the ether for a long time. He's trying to figure out how it works and how accelerated light produces particles. If you go to his channel, it's well worth subscribing and watching. You know, this guy's speaking from his heart. He's doing real out there experiments, but he's not getting any help from mainstream on what he's seeing. And in our 12 Gates video, we kind of we laid it all out, basically how it's working, the whole process. You know, that if you watch this 12 Gates video of ours, there's a very detailed decoding and breakdown of a lot of these processes going on in the underworld and how this technology is related to it. And this is what Roger's looking at. Particle acceleration is very much part of the process in what's going on down in the underworld on a grand scale, you know, not on a human-sized scale. We're talking a grand creator-sized scale here. The whole underworld's alive with technology and events happening. This is very plain to see when you start looking through our research and all the references we've used to come to these conclusions. It's just there in your face everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I know. Okay, we know that the Nazca lines is a lot of connected to a lot of this world with the halos. That's where I mean, they're hiding it, of course. And they're stealing whatever they're looking for there too. So explain to the people in chat just a little bit, what you guys have been researching, what you have found, because there's some that are from another chat room that I go and chat with. So just explain a little bit. I know they can go and look at your videos. You can put your links out there if you can, one and FPV. But just explain a little bit. I mean, doing lately.
We'll try. There's just so much. Yeah, we'll try. You know, there is so much to explain. You'd never get it all in one video anymore. You know, we do recommend watching all the other videos and come to your own conclusions from watching them, and then you'll see where we get our conclusions from. But, you know, we've looked at scripture. We can go through a little list of things we've looked into. The Book of Enoch, what he's describing and how it relates to the grid we're working with. Now, the big question there for people should be, how can Enoch be describing what we can see on the Nazca Mandala? You know, what's the Nazca Mandala got to do with what Enoch's describing with these gates in the north, south, east and west? So they're both describing the same thing, one with voice and, you know, recorded in various scriptures, and one with geoglyphs at Nazca, Peru. And then you start looking at other mandalas from other nations and you start to see the same thing. You know, it's a construct, and there's gates in the north, south, east and west. There's something at the centre. It just repeats over and over. It doesn't matter which culture you look at anymore. So, you know, then you start looking at all the various cultures' beliefs and you find all these deities and beings that they're all depicting. They're all relating to technologies in the underworld. They've all been given different depictions, or, well, they're all depicting different images of what they've seen in the underworld. But clearly they were all being taught the same thing. Because it's all, you know, it doesn't matter where you look, if it's geopetro or hieroglyphs, it's depictions of what's going on in the underworld. And then we, you know, it makes our work easier, because if we can decode that, it then gives us access to start looking at how our world is really working, you know, like volcano, earthquake data, all this kind of information is now pouring in, basically. We can look at it and decode it just by looking at it now and saying, yeah, that's just switched on. And like I said earlier, one's doing all the legwork in the background, all that kind of research, like looking into all the earthquake data, volcanoes, how they connect to it, all these lines that connect to it, the tubes. I've done some fantastic videos in all our presentations, really. But it's a lot to take on board, because it's such a broad picture of what you're looking at. It's too vast. You can see now why they struggled to describe it in scriptures. It was too big for them to describe. They're looking at very large components that are part of something even larger. You just can't comprehend the scale of it. That is really what you're looking at. So you can go into the definitions they've given scripture and how they've tried to describe things. The best part, I would say, for describing an accelerator was Ezekiel. The whirling wheels, the eyes round about it. This is ejection ports for this nuclear or radioactive material the accelerators produced by design. That's an element to matter conversion right there. That's basically creation before your very eyes. The hot coals from scripture. This is what's being produced by the accelerators. Now that is technology beyond our comprehension, but we can understand it because man's obviously figured this out and they've got them in use in the world today. They're just not telling you what they really are and what they really can do. But if you look at our 12 gates again, there's a good breakdown in there of how they work, how it relates to technology and current events, and take it from there yourself. The problem with this is that we are presented with a model, so we have to make a CGI representation of what we're looking at, and this is all anyone can ever do. It doesn't matter if it's a map or a model. All we can do is give a CGI representation of what we've been presented with, and this is what our research is doing. And that's why we're using this Nazca overlay grid. The overlays are also important location markers of technologies in the underworld. That's why we use the Nazca line overlays. They're basically pointing you to where things are in the underworld. It's a big map. Well, it's an even, if you look at the work one just did on Google Earth, the ocean lines, even they're on a scale larger than the Nazca lines. So that these are full-scale lines. Now there could be technologies on the seabed, or there could be more lines like Nazca line geoglyphs mapped onto the ocean floors on a grand scale. But whatever they are, they're not natural. Yeah, both.
And it could be old structures still down there too from when it flooded. Also,
yeah.
It could just be several things.
It's like the Baltic Sea anomaly. There's one right on the cross of one of the locations. It's an anomaly on the seabed, right on a location on our grid. And I would say it's pretty much related to some of the mapping out of it or what's below where.
That video's eye-opening.
Yeah.
The play smart, yes.
You should be at the top of your watch list, the 12 gates presentation. Because everything, all the decoding's in there, we can't see it working any other way.
And your tour, that's where you went and did the tour of the different areas. That's very eye-opening of what's sitting in these places.
Yeah, and that's just a partial tour of that, isn't it?
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely is.
Empress says Mayans have those intricate. I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyways, she said FPV. She can send you what she knows about it.
Yeah, certainly.
Intricate.
Yeah, Jamie Martin and my amiga Empress Teddy. Thank you for coming.
Empress is
Brian Knight.
Is Empress the one that does the main work? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The main's depicted it perfectly. Yeah, we can see that clearly, can't we? Yeah, very nice work.
She'll send you what she knows about it.
Yeah, 100% Empress. Yeah, we definitely want to see that. It makes sense, it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. The
Hey,
main the main the mains recorded it perfectly. I can't describe it better than them.
yeah. Um, Empress, do you want to come on the panel and explain a little bit what you're saying about the Mayans? I know the ancient Mayans, they know a lot of stuff. I'm pretty sure more than that, like the Aztecas and, well, she said the Mayans and what's the other one? I forgot the other one. God, I can't think. It's too early for me. But anyways, I really believe what Empress is saying because we have to go back in the ancient times. They know and what spirituality and also what they found. Sure, they found some other information about our world, and maybe they knew about the underworld.
Oh yeah, yeah. They depicted the underworld very well. Yeah, I can see that clearly.
So for Brian, do you want to explain what the seven-headed dragon is, FPV, and it goes along with the seven candlesticks and
The
Yeah.
seven-headed dragon. Right, if you look on the centre of that grid, that's on the screen there, you will see there's 8 lines come from the centre of it going out to dots at the end there. Now notice there's 8. Now remember in scripture they cut the head off a dragon. So our thinking is one of these has been disabled, so that leaves 7. So that we were calling these the 8 primaries at that location. They make a crown shape when you look at them. But in scripture there is a story of a head being cut off. So that's telling us
Yeah.
one got disabled. That might actually now relate to something else we're looking at. It just rolls on and rolls on, doesn't it? This research with something Sean G was looking at, and I think it might relate to something to do with something we can see is going on here. But that'll be the future presentation. We can't elaborate on that yet till we look into it a bit deeper. But yeah, it's whatever's going on. It's always related to this grid. There's the technology on this grid and how it works. Pretty much this is the heart of
Hmm.
it. Because you gotta, when there's no globe, you gotta go back to what was once done, and this is what we're being presented with this. It might change a little
Well,
bit here
it
and there, but so far it's just making total sense of what we're looking at. It's a technological construct, and
yeah.
it was given to
Well,
humanity to learn from. You wouldn't give the blueprints out if you didn't want anyone to know how it worked. But the blueprints for this are everywhere. So they wanted humanity to learn this and know it. Makes sense to us, doesn't it, one?
mm,
does to me after learning
okay.
everything I've learned and looking at how the world works. Everything is energy. So why
Exactly.
wouldn't energy run it and energy transfers? And we see these lines, these glyphs, um, placed and then pointing in certain directions, and that indeed is how the energy flows. I think we've offered several times for people to debunk this.
Yeah. I know you guys have been asking someone to debunk this, but it's very hard because like I said, I appreciate what you guys do. I'm not always there when you guys are doing your research. Of course, I'm busy, but the thing is that one with these weather patterns, okay, on the Pacific side, what do you remember when we were talking about the lines that Alaska to Hawaii and the United States on the Pacific side? Um, and we were talking how they connected. Now, with everything that's happening, is it still connected to these lines? I mean, I think it does, but give me your input on it, on these lines that are still connected with the Pacific. I know that I think it's Japan that had also some destruction. And what's the other country that had it? Mexico had it too. Two states. They had the floods. But there's another, they had an earthquake, 7 points something. Tsunami, what is it? Oh my Lord Jesus. Um, well, they had an earthquake 7 point. I think it was 4, 6, and then the tsunami came in, set that country.
That image on the screen right there
Now, do
can,
you think it connects?
that image there, cats, and one, you know. You look at what's on the screen there, that can show you perfectly what's going on where. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
The overlays.
Thank you, Sean.
You can see where
Yeah.
Japan there. It's, there's a chakra right there. One can go into a depth a bit more with the chakras. But yeah, these are very key locations that these events are taking place. That what you're looking at there was from the 12 Gates video, where the suns return to the east in the underworld. It has to go through 12 gates. That's why people need to
Mm-hmm.
watch that 12 Gates video of ours, because it'll decode a lot of things that they've probably not even considered before. It's a very big picture, this. It's a lot of information to take in, but such is research. We just keep learning and putting out there what we find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, explain to me what I just said. I mean, you talked about it more than FPV. Think about this, the lines on the Pacific.
Well, I mean, so Hawaii is a huge power point, and it has tons of lava tubes that run to it. So what I think is there's two reasons that Hawaii blew the way it did, especially when it opened different fissures on sides of the island that never, erupted. It always had a steady flow, but they were fracking. They were fracking in Hawaii big time. So if they opened up
Mm-hmm.
old lava tubes, which still could contain lava, but somehow um, the mechanism kind of closed it off, and then they
Mm-hmm.
reopened it, that would cause what happened with Hawaii and those explosions. It would cause the other side of the island to erupt the way it did. So all the tubes and lines, they're connected to America. They're also
Mm-hmm.
connected out through the Hawaiian Islands. When we get to that international date line, that gets a little bit messy and confusing. So that's why I did a whole video kind of on the international date. We had a whole hangout and we debunked the crap out of the international date line. But um, so so it connects with America. So whether or not America is draining towards Hawaii or Hawaii is actually sending energy towards America, I don't know. What I do know is our weather patterns and our water currents fall directly on our angels. So when you put 4 angels, which these things are very, very big below, they're not, we just show them as small dots, but you put 4 of them turning together and you're going to end up with a whirlpool, right, in the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we were explaining, that this is where these whirlpools in the oceans are. And it also is the same places and same direction, basically, that wind currents. So all of this stuff happening below is causing our weather events, and it's transferring and following the flow that FPV was just showing you, the
Mm-hmm.
the waves. I don't know if I talked about it good enough, but that's how it's all connected. These angels and this technology is creating and sending the energy the direction that it's programmed to do.
So you think that's what's going on in the Pacific still? I mean, because of the Hurricane Rosa, it's very odd that it came direct toward us. I mean,
Okay,
this is
well
the first time they said that.
then in that case we have to look more into weather modification itself, and that's also stuff that has been seen on the mimic map. It's very large magnetic microwave energies. So as for the storms forming, I don't know. I'm kind of, but as for moving the storm, I truly think they can do that. I learned weather modification and stuff off of Channel 1. It's an excellent channel, and he has a video that really goes into great detail of how this works. So they strategically place these power plants, and when the storm rolls in, they'll shoot tons and tons of moisture into the atmosphere to feed the storm and pull it in that direction. And that's how they're pulling these storms where they want them to land on land, so they can create these catastrophes and then send the government in to save everyone. And then you hear all these other videos about stuff that comes up missing and people that come up missing and all kinds of crazy stuff during this chaos. It's a way for them to cause something to happen, to be able to come in and take over an area that they want for whatever reason. And most of the stuff, as FPV, wars and most of these things are because they want what's below.
Yeah, definitely land grabs. Pretty obvious when you start looking at it. That grid becomes a political map when you look at it from a war or power type perspective. It's all. How was that for time? Back in a minute, guys.
I agree.
Sean's got it.
Oh,
Weather modding can steer, and it'll send frequencies and stream seeding. Yep, that's exactly what they're doing. And they're pulling the weather and any other events exactly where they want them to land and destroy.
Yep. Emerald Rider, thank you for coming. Let me see who else was here. Yep. If I can get up. Archie Bunker, thank you for guys coming and supporting. I know some of these are from, like I said earlier, they're from other chat rooms, so I'm glad they're here supporting this channel.
Yeah, that's good. Get the word out. More people.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing lately. I know these people from, oh my gosh, since I started YouTube. So I appreciate all them coming. But yeah, because we all know that the fake news don't tell us the truth, right, about these weathers that are coming toward us. They don't realize too that a lot of it has to do with chemtrails. More of these man-made weather. I mean, it's so sad to see all this happening to all the countries, not just ours, but all the countries.
I would also call it man reverse engineered weather, because it's not man-made. It's whoever originally created this technology, they're the creator of these weather patterns and nature itself, basically, how this technology works. And we can see man's been making small derivatives of it, such as HARP. Look at HARP and what it does. I'll think of it on a creator size scale and look on the mimic map and you'll see it. There's man-sized ones there, and there's creator scale size ones that span continents. So yeah, they've just scaled it down, the technology, basically. So there's a good excuse right there why they would hide flat Earth, because of how it works. It does get very political. This,
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
they're not just hiding a few islands or an ice wall or imaginary ice wall with something behind it. From our research and what Jimbo's looked at, this world's it's an unknown size and scale. You probably can't comprehend the scale of it, but we can see to accommodate giants and titans, which basically litter the landscapes and that they're trying desperately to hide. This place has to be huge. This place is something small and something bigger, a lot bigger. It has to be.
Yeah. Is this why they're hiding a lot of this information? I know that they are, but what do you think? Are they?
Yeah. Well, I think the technology's got the better of them. When you look at back to the 12 gates video again, one shows you where the split in the map is, and we show why the split is there, because they're hiding the 12 gates from scripture. They're just beyond these gates, and the closest ones on the grid would be the ones going east. The same direction Amelia Earhart flew in her aircraft when she went missing. So everyone's currently thinking all the action, all the things to see down in Antarctica. But when you look at the scale of the grid and the map, Antarctica is one of the farthest points away you could ever see. Even if you got to the coast, it's still 12, 15,000 miles further south what you're looking for. Whereas going east, you might see what you're looking for, and maybe several thousand miles going east of New Zealand, say on a east-northeast direction. We think that's where the eastern gates are located, going by the overlays of the grid. It makes sense why they would cut the map in that region. They have to cut the map to make the globe, so you don't see what's beyond there. But if you put it back to a flat map, then there has to be stuff beyond there. And that's when you can relate it to what Enoch's describing in the east, the north, south, east and west gates, or portals, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, our advice is follow the sun, find where the sun's coming from, and you will find these gates. This is what's been hidden.
Okay. Now I have a question for both of you. Now, why are these islands are appearing now? Does it have anything to do with we're talking about?
Well, going by the deluge or the flood that's been recorded places, I would expect it to start, subsiding and start revealing more and more. I've noticed that myself. There is things receding and being revealed. But not only that, it looks, when we seen what was happening in South America last year, when oceans were receding then slowly coming back, that's very unusual behaviour. That suggests, to me, I don't know about anyone else, but to me that suggests man's tampering with the technologies that's playing very important roles in how this world's functioning. Man's playing God with God's tools, basically, if you want to word it like that. Whoever the creator of this is has done it on a big scale, and man's playing around with it and hiding it.
Well, I know there's a lot of islands are appearing. I mean, that we didn't know, and it's strange that they're there.
Well, think about a small flood, okay? When it rains really hard somewhere and it floods the area, right? Because it's low-lying land or whatever. And sometimes it can stay flooded for a good couple weeks, right? And that's just a small bit of rain that maybe rains for a few hours really hard. So think about the size of the flood and the scale that would be on to flood the entire world according to scriptures, along with great catastrophes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, big tsunamis that obviously covered everything except maybe the highest peaks. Obviously some people lived through that. But then, think about how long on the small scale it takes for that water to actually absorb into the land and stuff. And then think about it on the large scale. How long would it take that much water to absorb into the land finally? I don't think the deluge was that long ago. I think our time scale is just completely wrong according to science, and I think their carbon dating is incorrect. So when you think about it in that term, and you think about the waters could still be absorbing from that flood, then land would start to appear. as it starts to recede more and more. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I mean, I can't prove that, but that's
Yeah.
definitely how it seems that it could be, and why so much land is appearing.
Another thing you could add to that is why it's another why it will appear, because by design it is creating this technology is creating landmass. Go
Yeah.
back to the 12 gates, the lava, the lake of fire. This, we can detail how it kind of produces that and how it disposes of it into the realm, where it uses the volcanoes and lava tubes to deposit it everywhere. It's by design. Look at the work One Conscience done in the lava tubes. You can see in there. This is a construct. These just aren't random
Hmm.
holes in the ground. These are very specifically designed tubes for managing the flow of this nuclear lava, basically. So, I would
Yeah.
expect, and if these machines are working overtime, which I'm pretty sure they are, and any man-made ones are going to be contributing to that, then it's going to create more landmass, whether it be land or sand. If it goes into water, it becomes sand. Ejected above water, it
Hmm.
becomes landmass, doesn't it? By design.
Yeah.
By design, it's creating all the time.
Well, I think that there's going to be more islands popping up, around the world. It's not just in United States or Mexico, but around the world. I think there will be more islands coming out. I know if I'm right and correct, really, there's one third of water, land, I think. Um, and I guess there's more water. I'm not sure, but that's a third of land. Do you think it's correct or what? If these islands are popping up, I'm pretty sure there's more land. We know that for sure. But we didn't know about these islands, right?
Yeah,
That they
well,
exist.
it's
It's just,
even though there's water, there's land below it, and any of the shallower ones are going to get revealed first, and so there's going to be lots of them popping up. So that tells you right there that the water levels are subsiding. It seems to be,
hmm.
I've seen a few reports myself recently of land masses appearing, like big sandbanks and things like that are getting revealed. So yeah, it has to be receding somewhere.
And entire
Eh,
continents. You can look up that an article, and it's called Zealandia. There is an entire continent that's, well, they say kind of rising out of the ocean, but I think the waters are receding, and I think it's going to start to show face here soon. It's right over attached part of New Zealand and runs through all those little islands that we see the peaks of. So the islands are not just islands, they're just the high points of this continent that's going to show its
mm,
face, one day. I can't say it'll be in our lifetime, I don't know, but maybe it will be. It's surfacing so much that people are starting to talk about it.
mhm.
Another thing we should be clear on as well is what the angels actually are. We probably don't say it enough, but angels decode to us as particle accelerators, and they've got various functions and roles. That's why there's different types of them.
Mm. Now, one, do you think these lavas in Hawaii, can they bring out these islands as well? Because I'm pretty sure in the Pacific sense we can't see them, but do you think the lava is bringing them out too? I'm not sure, but explain about it.
Well, the lot with Hawaii, I think it's gaining surface each year, isn't it? I mean, I thought I read that somewhere that Hawaii is expanding each year, which would be a result of the lava. There's no waste on in our world, so anything that would be considered waste becomes this lava, which then is expelled to make more land. So the waste is, it's waste. It's a waste system, and these tubes are just carrying it and holding it. And when these basins become full, they blow. They have to expel, and that's when the lava comes out, and then it hardens and it makes new land, or like he was saying, sand. So if it's going down to the bottom of the ocean, it's just becoming more sand on the bottom of the ocean floor.
So you think
So
that there's going to be more islands popping up? I mean, I really think
I
they are. They
I
will
do
be seen.
Don't doesn't Scripture say something like that? FPV, that the islands will be popping up.
It does mention mountains will jump into the sky like lambs, which I've always related to the technology below and the pull factor, the halo in the sky, the what they call sundogs, that has on the landmass. I'm pretty sure it's pulling land upwards. It's forcing land upwards by design. These tectonic plates are probably a part of this process. We've even gone through ourselves, discussing what these plates might actually be. There could be giant hydraulic rams or anything just pushing landmass up. We're just guessing there on that layer. But by design we can see it's clearly pushing landmass up all the time and pulling. There's a pull factor caused by these electromagnetic halos in the sky. My best description for what it is a radioactive electromagnetic projection. That's what the luminaries are.
The strangest thing is that lately we've been having 3 days straight full moon. Oh my gosh, full moons. And then this destruction comes of the weather. I mean, does it have anything with these 3 full moons that the weather patterns are coming?
I would say, yeah. Each luminary is giving off its own frequency that would affect an electromagnetic world, right? Because it would feed more energy into areas, just like the alignments of the planets.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
2 energies make a third energy, right?
Yeah, there's going to be overlays, what they call eclipses. The solar eclipse we can see is clearly something very close to the sun. They're not millions of miles away like they tell us. They're very close proximity passing by of something you can't see, but clearly there's something there. It's the moon in its switched off phase. Basically, it's not projecting any light, but its body is still there.
Well, I know these past 3 days, I mean, a week ago, but there's 3 days that when there was a full moon, it was so close that you can, my state, Arizona, you can see it so close. And it's very odd because we never had that as well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, looking at it, you can try to touch it. That's how close it was. And it's weird for me to see that 3 days straight. So
I've seen it like that before.
Saw it at PBI.
I've seen it to where it looked like when it was almost just sitting on the road, and I was coming up a small hill through town, and this was a few years ago, but the moon looked like it was just sitting on the road, the way it was positioned. And all that is it's ascending and descending these halo systems. And in the Google Earth lines, I think the Google Earth lines are, more detailed than the Nazca lines. It's where the energy is flowing, and it's where these luminaries are traveling. And it there's parts where it climbs up and goes down. I mean, he's showing this video right now of the sun. Well, there's many of these little ascending and descending spots, and not, so the moon will climb and it'll look further away, and it'll come back down and it'll look much closer to us. So it depends on when we happen to get a look at it and where it's positioned on these systems. If it's sitting on a lower spot, and it'll rise through the night, so it might only look like that for a little bit where it's really, really close. And it might happen more often than we think, and we just don't see it because maybe we're inside at the time that it's there and it climbs up. Does that make sense?
You can also put that altitude rising down in scriptures as the ascension. This is what's ascending. It's the projection.
Yeah.
Well, it was on the east side, and there's mountains on the east side. And like you said, one, it feels like it's sitting on the mountain. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and that's how close it was. But it was on the east side. And these 3 days of the full moon was like exactly where it was, the same way. Um, it's the first time I've seen it like that in the Arizona. So, oh, it's just so weird for me.
I think
I don't know if there's a connection.
I think people's just noticing more now that we're looking at things more. When you were restricted to a globe, I don't think anyone gave it a second thought what was going on in the skies. And now we can see it's not a globe, and we've got this research going on. Well, everyone's out there is researching, it's not just us researching. But everyone's looking at the skies and working things out and seeing things they're probably not supposed to see, or realizing, this does not work on a globe, this is something else. So yeah, I think people are going to notice things more and more the more they look at flat Earth.
I agree.
Mhm.
I just don't think people were looking as much. Maybe some people, maybe a select handful, people that did observe the moon, this and that before. But now that all this has come to light, people are watching the skies. They're watching them constantly. And then they think because they see something different this year than happened last year that something's wrong. But when I trace the moon back, clear back to like the 1920s, it's still doing the same thing. It's just
Mhm.
ascending and descending in different places. So
Yeah, it's just
it
following
looks,
its set path, isn't it? It's set paths for that time of year.
yeah, yeah,
There is
exactly.
there
And
is
when
a
I,
there is a big cycle there. We haven't fully worked it out, but it's definitely a cycle.
yeah, but you can see trends. Like even the year 1921 all the way up to the year 2000, still in September though, the moon was right around the same area. And that's all those years apart. But in September of those years, it was still right around the same area, doing exactly what it was supposed to do. We just weren't paying attention. We weren't alive, you know.
Yeah, we didn't know nothing about this until
Well, that's it.
recently.
We assumed we'd been taught everything, yet in fact we knew nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we did. Through everything away that you've ever learned and go back to what was once taught and try and make sense of it. And it makes a hell of a lot of sense when you start doing that.
Yep. And then you go crazy
Mhm.
for a minute, and then you come back, and it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, it does affect you, this research. We can't hide that. We're fine and we accept it and we embrace it. We can see this. It's definitely a technological construct. And we
Yeah.
embrace that and work
And
with it
see,
because it explains a lot for us that we didn't even know before. And I
yeah,
think you'll find a lot of people in mainstream, like your archaeologists or other specialists in various fields, they're all coming forward and not agreeing with what they've been told. Everyone's finding problems with
yeah,
this globe model, and not just the globe, but events and findings within this world. It doesn't make sense on a globe. So it all comes back to flat Earth and what this world really is. People say all roads lead to Rome. Well, we don't. We say all roads lead to hiding the construct and all that involves. Because this is clearly a construct, and who was involved in its construction? I don't know.
yeah.
We're not talking small beings here. It's too vast and large, for us to comprehend. But we can see it's giant titan scaling upwards. With technologies and planning, we can't comprehend, but we're certainly learning it. We're fast at learning it. It's not so hard to decode. They've overcomplicated everything to hide it, is what we're finding. It's not as complicated as it looks. It's just too big to describe is the hard part, or put into a video form. We can talk about it a lot, but putting all this into video format's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, when we started this research together, and we have found so much information on about how it works, these hellos, and how it connects to the weather patterns. It connects to all these lines on the Pacific. the east, to the west, to the north, and the south. So we all know that so much connection. There's so much to find out about these connections, these lines, for sure. And the more you both research it, the more information you find. Um, you know, I I'm
Yeah.
just like
See what we're kind of doing, Cats, is we're looking at
very
the big picture and picking parts out of it that we can decode and translate into real world events, and we're putting out there for people who, there's people in these fields, all these fields we're covering, the specialists in all those fields, and they can come and look at this and take from it what they can and see how it works with everything they've learned, and they can add even more pieces to that bigger picture for that particular area we covered. That's how it's going to work. We can't cover it all; it's just too much. We can highlight things and say this is how we're seeing it, how it works, but we need specialists in that area to look into it even more. There's going to be a lot of
yeah,
people out there, their research will overlay into this perfectly. We just need to grab the map and grid off us and start plotting across it, really. If it doesn't work, fine, that'll be an error on our behalf, but so far it's making a lot of sense. But we do need people help,
yeah,
help. People need to help or contribute to it in any way or take from it what they can and see if it works in their model, because there's a lot of maps and models out there. So we get that people don't want another map and model pushed on them, because when we came to Flat Earth we had the same problem. We walked into the E-map and we assumed it was correct and everyone had already done the work for it. As it turns out, they haven't, and there's errors with it, and it doesn't work with our research, and it's a process of elimination. You've got to start eliminating things that work and things that don't, which is what we've been doing, and on this mapping grid, it's proven very accurate. So it tells us we're on the right path. But yeah, we want people that knows things about planets, stars, everything. Try, take this. Well, if you ask for us, if you request a map somewhere on the grid, we'll happily pass it you and plot your work on it. See how it works out for you. It might just surprise you what you're looking at. That's what we're finding. Everything we're overlaying on this map and grid seems to make a lot of sense. So yeah,
well,
we don't try and push it, although we think, between us, we think this needs researched and discussed a hell of a lot more than we're doing. The constraints there is one's busy working a lot, and we don't get a lot of hours together that we can do a stream like this, or we haven't got content ready to show.
right.
It's a slow process compiling it all.
Also, you should address the fact that some people are still calling this some kind of a Pac-Man model, which
Right.
makes no sense because
Yeah.
that's not what it is at all.
Right. It's not an AE map. No, it's not a Pac-Man model. On a Pac-Man model, say the sun as an example, would get to the west and it would magically appear in the east. But that's how would you prove that? You can't really. There needs to be, even with that, it would suggest technology or something else at play. But that's something we can't prove, and we can see by using the Nazca lines and overlays, it's a technological process of shutting it down. And as shown with the 12 gates presentation by one, the sun has to return back to the east, and the Egyptians depicted this perfectly with the 12 gates presentation one went through. So there's 12 gates or 12 chakras that the sun has to go through to get back to the east. So you can now relate that to things that are coming from the inside of the tombs in Egypt, because what you will find is tribal leaders, chiefs, kings, queens, royals, etc., etc. In those days they all proudly depicted how the world worked. They went well out of their way to depict it in geoglyphs, petroglyphs, hieroglyphs, you name it. It's in scriptures, it's everywhere. They all tried to tell you how it worked, and those names seem to have gone now. Why, I don't know, but we've had the globe system pushed on us, the Copernican system, but our research with the halos, the globe's debunked, so you go back to what was once known once again, and our research is showing that Ptolemy's model, where he describes epicycles, if you're not sure what them are, look them up. It describes the motions of the luminaries perfectly. Now it's not just moving the luminary, it's moving a halo that's attached to the luminary. And it's presenting this halo's movement as what's creating the luminary's movement. And our research is saying, yes, that's precisely what we're looking at. These halos are the projections that are moving around in the underworld. That's the connection we can show. So, a good correlation there, going back to Ptolemy's work, Ptolemy's model. His model reigned supreme for a long, long time. It was only the globe system that destroyed it. And then you look at the excuses for it, they're pretty poor. So yeah, there's been a system in play for a long time hiding how this world really works.
A picture in the back chat that correlates. It's more still.
I can't one because I'll disturb the screens I've got on screen.
Okay.
I can't open anymore.
It correlates with the...
I mean, you can screen share it if you want.
Yeah, okay. It correlates with the chakras and the waves and going through the gates.
Now, beneath us, you can feel the electricity. I feel it when you're walking on the dirt or on the grass. You can feel electricity underneath.
It's everywhere.
I'm pretty sure.
It's everywhere around
If you guys
us.
can feel it, I'm not sure, but I do.
It's a part of life.
Huh?
It really is a part of life. It's all around us. It always has been. It's part of the construct. This is probably how they harness electricity. There'll be a simple process where they just pull it off thin air, basically, because it's all around us. These the accelerators have got this rotating toroidal field rising up, which we can see with lightning. Lightning is the connection between the projected halo in the heavens and the physical halo in the underworld. The physical model that's doing the projecting. There's an electrical link between the two. And if you look at how tornadoes form, or little dust devils, this is that same process. This is them starting up and creating that effect. And that area right there, it's electrified. So it's a simple case of harnessing it. And you go back to the 144,000 in scripture, they're what's sealed below. This is what the sarcophagi basically represent. The sarcophagi is representing the encased angel in the underworld below. That's what it represents. And the scarab beetle that you see in the Egyptian depictions, that is the projection that goes up to the heavens. In other words, it's telling you the sealed sarcophagi, there's something inside the sealed sarcophagi that projects the luminary. If to decode, that's basically like a sun projector moving around in the underworld.
Like the panels that they want us to put on our homes. There's something behind it. I don't know exactly, but it has to do something with the electricity, with the panel. Why do they want so hard to push the panels
The solar panels.
on our homes?
Solar panels, do you mean?
The panels mean where you put the reflection of the sunlight.
Yeah, solar
it
panels.
comes through to the panels.
Right. Yeah, well, it's it creates an industry where you're harnessing free energy, although they make it not free by there's tariffs and you've got to get the system installed. It's a free way of getting energy. I would recommend everyone go for it if they can. It will reduce your electricity bills, but it's an industry that needn't exist, because when you look at the technologies and the power that's produced in the underworld alone, and you can harness everything around you, this energy is free. When you look at this,
Exactly.
look at these blueprints, it's showing you how it works, it's showing you how to harness the energies, the tree of life showing you how to harness it, how to harness radioactive matter. It's all there. The blueprints are all there for humanity to harness this and learn from it and utilize it. It should be free. So to us, these blueprints were given to us for free, for mankind to benefit and learn from. That's what it's that's what it decodes to us. This is how it works. Look after it and harness it. That's what they're telling us.
Right. Well, I don't know if the other states have panels, but I know from here where I live, Arizona, they are pushing panels so very hard. And the electricity that we pay for is going to be double. Now, I know they want to make money. We all know that. But to put these panels, there has to be a good reason. I mean, when it's weather comes and it's dark, how can that work? when
Well,
it's
I would
nighttime?
say,
How can it work?
I would say, you got to look at who's pushing the panels. Is there a certain company that's making them, that's profiting from them? You know,
True,
to me, it's another way of
but
harnessing free energy, but they're making it not free because you got to buy them, install them, and you
true.
might get a reduction on your energy bill. But go back to what I was saying before. This energy bill shouldn't exist. This is a given for humanity. This electricity and this technology. It should be free to everyone. All they've done is put a cable to your house and put a smart meter on the end. What's coming through it is basically a given free, but now they're charging for it. Now I know plants and
Yeah.
companies and maintenance units and all that have to have maintenances and be paid, but this is just daylight robbery. It's basically communism through taxation. It's a form of control.
Mhm.
And now when you
I
look at
know.
you look at that, and there's people in the world freeze to death because they can't afford to pay the winter bills. When this is a
True.
given free energy right there. Why are they worried about putting the heating on? Because of the bills. It's crazy. It's just greed.
Yeah. Well, I know that in our winter, uh, it's different than where you're at, but it's more in the daytime what is happening than night. I mean, it just like Sean just said in chat, it's to make money. Of course, we all know that, but there's something behind it. I'm trying to figure it out why. Why pushing it
Well, you
in our state? And
look at some
I
of the
don't know if
energy
California
companies.
has it, and Texas and New Mexico.
I know in UK, the
I don't know on the west side.
remember David Cameron, the Prime Minister. I know in UK his father is the boss of an energy company that's pushing those wind turbines, so he's making money out of those. So there's people making money out of technology, but it's to me they're an eyesore. In some cases you might need one, depends where you are, and how remote you are. But you see them offshore and on hills everywhere. They're an eyesore. And they're not required. We know this energy is free and there's unlimited amounts of it. So it's just people making profit out of things that aren't really needed when you look at that.
Hmm. Well, I figured this out, and some of it. When they put the panels, okay, and they're saying, all right, if it's, you can still use your electricity the way they used to, what I still use. But the connection to the wires to the post, put it behind the panels. So what is the difference? I mean, are they paying it for just to pay the panels? Because I feel that it's connecting the wires, the post to the wires to the panels. They're still using their electricity, no matter what. I think they're lying to them, that you're going to save money because the school system also has it. So there's something there. Why the school system are using it, other places are using it, government's using it. So what's behind it? That's what I don't understand, that they're pushing it very hard
I don't know
in
about
my state.
I don't know about over there in the States, but in the UK here, there's companies offering to put them on your home for free. So you're getting free solar panels on your roof. But the catch really is they're going to get the feed-in tariff that the government would be paying you if they were yours. So this is a company basically giving you some panels, and you'll get some cheaper electricity. But at the end of the day,
Right.
they've now took over your roof for a good 25 years, and they're getting a lump. They're getting the feed-in tariff from it that the government would pay you for going green. So there's that to watch out for. There's two options. You can buy your own and get them installed professionally, which is the route I would recommend. Or there's I think it's rent a roof kind of scheme they call it here, whereas they come and fit them for free, but they get over 25 years they're getting a lot of money for those panels. Where if you can afford to put them panels up
Exactly.
yourself, you would get all that money.
Well, and I have here's a different thought. So the energy that we're paying for is natural anyway. So,
Hmm.
nowadays we use a lot more energy. So if they're putting these solar panels on homes and, really, really pushing it to happen, it's an additional, and if they have the batteries that store this energy inside the panels, and we just don't know it because we don't know the construct, and then that's helping give everyone power, but yet we're still paying, and the little bit of price they take off is just minimal, so
Exactly.
they're helping. um,
Yeah, they're feeding
still
they're feeding the monster. They're keeping that monster alive. That's ripping us off, basically. I know what you're saying, but
Yeah,
that's what it is, isn't it?
you can't see
I can't
chat,
know.
but Sean is talking about it,
Mm.
and and I know he's said in the past how you have to store it for it to be worth a crap.
Yeah, well, there's on grid and off grid. That sounds like an off grid setup where it's stored into batteries and you use as and when needed. An on grid one is like mine. It's connected to the grid. As long as there's daylight, it's on running. Come night time, it shuts itself down. It doesn't use any power until the next morning when there's enough power to start the panels back up. But
Yeah.
you have to watch there. There is models that run overnight. They're aiming in a standby mode, which means they're using power from your home, which is what you don't want. It's putting your bill back up a little bit. Might not be a lot, but it's running an inverter that's sitting in standby when it needn't be. So be careful if you do go for one. Make sure it shuts down at night and it's not using any of your home power. Like that's the one I went for because I thought, yeah, once it's dark, it's not going to run. It shouldn't be using any electric till the next day when it's bright again.
Hmm. That's what I'm saying. We're being brainwashed on these now, on the panels. That's how I feel. We're being brainwashed that, oh, it works, go ahead and get it. You're going to save energy, you're going to save money, and so on and so on. But to me, you know, like my electricity, I think we're voting on it. It's Prop 121 to stop them to double our electricity
Yeah,
because of these companies are saying they're pushing the panels, okay? And the way to push it is by raising our electricity, okay, our bill double. Um, so people are being brainwashed to put these panels. I know I'm not doing it, but others are doing it. It's sad that they're lying to them.
our argument to that should be, well, what's causing it to double? What at the power plant is working at twice as hard now? Absolutely nothing. It's still producing the same power it does, whatever the price. They could put it down to
Now,
put it down to 10 cents a day. They're still going to make a profit.
right, right.
It's
Now,
ridiculous.
like our light plant, God, I forgot the name of it. They're gonna take it down. It's sad because it's been there for a long time.
See, this
They're
is what
gonna
they've
take
done.
it
This is
down.
what flat Earth's hiding. See, that's why they hide flat Earth, because then you realise there's an abundance of energy and everything's basically free, and they're getting very rich from this process. Because what they've done, they've harnessed all the energy markets and privatised and monetised it. That's what they've done to the realm. They've hid it, invented a globe, privatised and monetised the technology that runs the world, and hid it. This is why, because your nuclear power, your electrical power, all harvested powers are from this technology in the underworld. It doesn't matter how you look at it. This is what's been hidden, and you can see the why now. Why they would do it. It's just greed and power, corruption.
Right. Well, gosh, this is weird. Okay, first change your electric box for to control from their office. Now the panels are in. Now they're gonna shut down our plants, which is the biggest plant in Arizona that connects to a lot of our little cities. I don't understand why they're shutting it down. I know for a fact that Bill Gates bought land around there. Maybe it has something to do with that. I'm not sure. But they're planning something big in Arizona with our plants shutting down.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out,
What is it? A nuclear plant?
What was that?
Is it a nuclear plant?
Yes, a nuclear plant. It's being shut
If
down.
they're shutting them down, then there's obviously one somewhere else that's got enough energy to cover the area that was originally covering. So I would say there's probably a bigger one attached to that grid now that can run it.
Hmm.
You know, if they're going to shut them down and you're not losing energy, then clearly the energy is being fed from somewhere else.
They're shutting it
But
down now.
where?
Probably, probably,
Well,
the,
they're
probably the next largest plant that's nearby.
Or what if it
well,
has something to
yeah,
do
well,
with Hawaii? If they opened old tubes, like theorized.
yeah. I don't know when they're
Yeah,
gonna shut
yeah.
it down, but we know that they are. Um, I just really don't understand why. I mean, it's been there for a long, long time, and now they're gonna shut it down. So
But who knows?
whatever they're,
It's another excuse to force you onto a dearer supplier as well. Remember, they shut down, then you have to recontract with someone else, and you can guarantee the prices will be a bit higher, even though it's the same electricity on the same grid from the same source.
Sean said bidding on land. I bet that nuclear power plant has pockets of oil close by. Absolutely. It's close to Texas, and there's tons and tons of fracking going on over there. Oh my gosh. You can zoom in, and on the side of mountains, you'll just see rows and rows and lines and fields of fracking operations that they are doing on the side of mountains. It's insane. It's insane.
Hey, you can drop the panel link in the back chat if you want anyone to join.
Yeah, and not to mention, there's 3 super volcanoes right around the west side of America. I mean,
I'm just going to get a brew,
yeah,
guys.
there is.
I'm just going to brew.
on
I'll
the
be back in a few
public.
minutes.
Let me put it in the public. There, it's in our public back chat if anybody wants to hop on. Sean's at work.
He's at work. He
Yeah,
said.
we'll get it together with you eventually, Sean, when it's good for everyone.
Mhm. I don't know. Now, can any of the states have more oil, like Arizona, California, and they know about it, and they're doing all this for sure. But oh my gosh, I just don't understand why they're gonna take the plant. That's where I'm trying. Why? Because I think the nuclear plant of ours connects to the grid to California, and I don't know if New Mexico, but
Whereabouts is it
I'm
at
not sure.
in Arizona?
It's by Buckeye, Arizona. It's not far from there. I know it's growing really fast on that side. It's on the I-10. I know it's growing. Buckeye's growing, and it's gonna grow more toward the west. I'm not sure if is that the reason why they're turning down the nuclear plant, or what's their agenda. That's what I'm trying to figure it out. What is their agenda?
Well, I don't know.
Because hey, Sean, is it connected to Southern California? I'm not sure, but I think it is.
That spot is actually centered between 2 supervolcanoes, the one by Mammoth Mountain and the one right in New Mexico. That's pretty interesting.
Right. That's what I'm saying. What? Oh my God. I need to research on this nuclear plant and find out the reason, exactly the reason why.
Yeah, why do they say they're closing it?
Don't know. They haven't really said anything. All they said is that they're going to shut it down. That's what I'm saying. What is the reason for it? I wonder what they found
I would say the reason
on that
for
area.
it is because they overproduce the material used to run the plant. So they're having to bury it below ground, and they say it's nuclear waste. But when you listen to Galen Windsor's video, there's no such thing as nuclear waste. It's still very much active and useful. It's an unlimited power source. So he reckons that they're storing for the future. They put it underground for a future when they need it in the future. So it tells you right there that they're overproducing the material. And they have to get rid of it. So that's what one we're discussing. How would they get rid of it? An easy way is to reuse some of the old lava tubes. Start dumping it back down there where it's supposed to be, because it's the same technology and the same process, and it needs managed the same basically. It needs got rid of and managed into the realm as by design, like it's supposed to be doing. So man's playing with the creator's tools, and they made human-sized nuclear power plants basically, and they're charging us lots of money for energy that's quite free and plentiful. Keep going back to that again. So it's all about the money.
Actually, that's what they say. They say they're closing it. It could close down because of increased competition from cheap natural gases. That's the reason.
Yeah.
Now, is there a connection?
Cover story.
Now, is there a connection with the panels and the nuclear plants is shutting down? I mean, those are questions I'm trying to figure it out.
No, I would think the panels are probably from the manufacturer, and someone in politics has got a share in it somewhere. As we've seen with the UK one, I think when that thing happened in Panama, when someone was releasing documents on politicians, that's when it came out about Cameron's father having a big hand in the wind turbine business. So yeah, there's people in the background making big money out of stuff that's just rubbish, really. They're selling you garbage wind turbines and things as though they're needed, and they're not. It's just enforcing the globe world and this regime that hides how it really works. There's free energy everywhere.
Okay, Sean.
So we don't need it. We don't need the wind turbines and solar panels in reality. If you're somewhere remote, then yes, I can see where you would need solar panels or a wind turbine. But there's no reason why everyone out there shouldn't be on the grid by now. Connecting for pay a one-off connection fee and something per month for maintenance. That's all you need. You don't need these massive bills that we're getting hit with. That's just greed. That's privatisation basically. Everything needs nationalised. They frown on nationalism, but nationalism, all these companies, they become. They're all nationalised, the property of the country and for that country's benefit, and that's when it was kept fair. When we seen in UK, and I'm pretty sure anywhere else, when it was nationalised, all the prices were low and fair, and now it's privatised. They've gone up like 500-600% for no reason whatsoever other than greed.
Exactly, and it's so expensive.
Yeah,
let me tell you,
it's a rip-off.
They came over my house and they explained it to me, which I know it's BS, but yeah, they're pushing. Like I said, they're pushing it very hard for us to have it, but I won't do it for sure because, like I said, there's things about it behind it that they want it for us to have it. But Sean, I don't know what I said earlier. I think I said, what does the nuclear plant has to do with the panels? I think that's what I said. But
I would say the only connection will be someone in power or position getting rich from it. That's the only thing I can see.
But does it connect to the Nazca lines? Does it connect to the lines? Does this all connect to what I'm saying about the nuclear plant shutting down, the panels? Does it connect to what you guys have been researching?
No, it's just part it's just part of the political game, what you're looking at there. Why it's shutting down, there's obviously a plant nearby or could manage that grid perfectly fine by itself. But you'll find that with nuclear power plants, they all hailed as a big success. They run for a set amount of time, then they dismantle them. Why? I used to wonder myself why. It spent a lot of money building this plant. Now it's running it's run for X amount of years and then they decommission it, and you think, well, what was the point of that? But you know, like I said, go back to they're probably overproducing radioactive materials that they can't, you know, they're not going to give us this energy for free, so they're just burying it and hiding it or shutting plants down. Then it'll start all over again somewhere else. They're just keeping themselves in business with something that's a given free for us, really, and that's their way of hiding it. You know, they come and go, these plants, all these companies and plants come and go, but it's just part of the same game. You know, they're playing the energy game and they make out as though it's, you know, costs us money to create energy. No, it doesn't. It doesn't cost you much at all.
What does the water, how does the water connect to the electricity of the nuclear plant? What's there with the water? Because I know water has to be involved in this, maybe.
Heavy water.
Do you know?
Nuclear power plant uses heavy water, but Galen Windsor, I don't know if you've heard of the guy, but he makes a very good video on how safe radioactive material really is. And that's what we're seeing in scriptures and everywhere else. You know, the hot coals from scripture, they sound pretty much safe, and as long, you know, as long as you'll handle them right, it's all going to be quite safe. Now Galen Windsor, he used to swim in the pool at the power plant, the pool where it cools the nuclear rods. He says he used to swim in there, and I would believe him, because there's a place, I think, is it where you live, one where you can go and swim in a lake. It's quite safe, isn't it? It's not as, you know.
Yeah.
As long as the right mixtures of materials are there, it's not going to harm you.
I was talking to mute. There's a power plant, Clinton nuclear power plant. It's just north of me, and there's a beach attached to it. And we went swimming there many times, and the water is a little bit warm. So I'd say the water is being used to just keep the reactors and all the stuff cool inside. The plant I work at pulls off of the lake, and it has a wastewater system, and it's constantly flowing up, around, and through the plant, and then coming back out of different areas and recycling back through, because it has to cool this. It's, you know, it's big machines. Got to keep the machines cool, especially when they're running at overtime constantly, like they never shut down, because they don't want to stop making their money. So it's constantly running. You got to cool that stuff. You got to cool mechanisms so they don't get so hot and like the pieces fuse up and then something would blow.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, Texas is connected to the electricity in Mexico. I don't know why, but it's Texas only. What is it behind why Texas is using the electricity from Mexico? Is it? I mean, that part, when I found you know, is there something there that we don't know? And it's only Texas.
There's something everywhere, really. There's something everywhere, really.
Mexico has the biggest quartz crystal cave system in the entire world. They're huge. I mean, you can go online and look it up, and those are amazing conductors of electricity. So if they're pulling from Mexico, then they're pulling from a bigger system.
Yeah, right. Pulling from the grid below still.
Mm-hmm.
I think the government, I'm gonna say, in Texas, they know why they're pulling this electricity from Mexico. Now it can be when all our electricity shuts down, except Texas. See, that's what I just don't understand. If we all go down, Texas will the only state to have electricity. See.
Yeah, I suppose it makes sense. If they wanted to shut the grid down, it's easier doing it from one site than many. Because at the end of the day, you know, one site could manage the whole grid. It's not like there's a shortage of power anywhere, really, is it? Now you know what you're looking at. So yeah, you could. I would say they'll just keep doing the same, though. You know, they waste public money and build plants, and then dismantle them again some years later, and it starts all over again somewhere else. They're just hiding what they're doing, really. It's the same with electrical power plants. You know, they come and go. Even the coal-fired ones, they come and go.
Hmm.
But they'll get rid of one, then build another.
But yeah.
It's just
But
create.
the
It's,
thing is that
it's just keeping the illusion going that it's hard to generate electricity when it's not.
But the thing is, like California, Arizona, New Mexico, why can't we use electricity, the grid from Mexico? Why can't we not have it? If we're on the borderline,
You're already
you
on
know,
it.
to the other country.
In reality, everyone's on the same grid. They just don't realise it. The grid's this
Mm.
construct below us. It's all one big thing. They're just plugging into
Hmm.
various parts of it and putting a power station there and charging people in that neighbourhood for extortionate rates.
And
That's how it works.
if I took a guess, I mean, and I can't prove this at all, but that system from Mexico runs clean up through Texas and all the way up through to Kentucky. It's 400 miles long. Those crystal cave systems, I would bet you most of the United States is pulling energy from there. Wherever that source is actually coming from would probably be the angels over on the west side, but it's all pulling from there. They're just not going to tell us that. So I'm sure you're getting stuff from there. They're just not going to tell us because it's natural,
Exactly.
and they want us to keep paying and paying and
Exactly.
paying. You know?
Well, looky, we pay in United States, okay, and I'm talking about the West, where I live, California, New Mexico, and Texas. Okay, the people in Mexico and their country, their electricity is so low. They pay, and they only pay $15, between $15 and $20 a
Where's
month,
that
or
at?
for 2 months in Mexico. Okay, so they pay that much. Okay, but we have to pay a lot of money. Now, are we paying for their electricity or what? This is where I'm confused because they only pay so little, but yet we pay so much. And if it's in the same grid and we're paying more and they're not, are they paying? We're paying the difference to give them the electricity or what? I just don't understand because $20 every 2 months, it's nothing. It's nothing, and it's the same electricity.
But they're right on top of this mass energy source. I mean, then maybe they don't use as much power as we do because,
I think it's wage based.
yeah,
Different standards of living and life, and local wages. It'll be based on that. They can't hit them with the same bill to hit someone that pays a better wage in a different country. Say, as an example, or two
Right.
locations on different kind of wages. So they have to make it fair in that area as well as in the ones where there's richer people, so their bills would go up. But in reality, everyone should
Right.
be on the same bill because what you're saying is right. They're paying $2 a month and you're paying $200 a month for the same thing.
Right.
There's something seriously wrong. 'Cause,
Well,
that's just
well, Sean's
that's
right.
basing it on your standard of living, isn't it? It's not basing it on the
Yeah.
freedom of the energy that's there, and it should
Right.
be. It should
I
be based on the freedom of energy available. That'd be a better pricing policy.
I Well, I agree with Sean's saying in chat. I know it's money. I know the Bushes runs all Texas. I know all that, but the thing that I'm saying is that why Mexico is paying less than we are. It doesn't make difference because we're not too far from Mexico on the borderlines, these states.
It's because you're on
This
a
is
higher.
why
It's because you're
I
on a higher wage, probably an hour. It's based on the standards in your country or locality. So they'll just get greedy with it. They'll keep them on the breadline as well as keeping you on a breadline by yours being higher, but because you earn a higher wage. It's just more communism matched over, really.
right.
So yeah, it's down to greed. How greedy can they get without you starting to complain?
Now, there's another thing that can brainwash them about other stuff about the electricity. That's why they're paying low, right? So they don't have to open mind or research anything. I mean, brainwash, mind control again with these our people, because I'm gonna say our people because we're all one, right? But I don't know. I just don't understand, and I have to find out why. I mean, those are the questions in the past that I have been asking myself. Why do they pay less and we pay more? Now they want to double our electricity. I know said something. There's a few states that are already paying double electricity, like New Jersey, New York, California. They said, and I don't remember the other states. Now Arizona, they want to do that too. So I don't. So it has to have a reason, a deep reason why they're doing this.
Politics and the people behind the companies. That's all it is. They're lying in their own pockets at everyone's expense and hiding what's really powering everything. There's a nice example there. There's one checking out the grid. Look, flying around, looking at it. One's avatar. She's checking it out. She knows. She can see what's free and what's not.
Oh my gosh. Yes, one quit flying. No, I'm just joking.
Well, look at the grid. Look at the size of that grid, guys. That's where the energy is coming from. Look at the size of that grid in our realm. The whole grid can power everything in the realm, no problem.
Right. So you think that has connection what you guys been researching?
100%, yeah.
The grid.
Yeah. They're keeping the illusion alive that it's hard to generate electricity but when in reality, when you look at our work on this grid that we're revealing, there's no shortage of energy there. Look at it. It encompasses the whole realm. All that's free energy right there, and there's numerous ways you can harness it.
Now, in some place in Colorado, maybe in Arizona too, they're off the grid. Okay? Now they're pushing them to get back on the grid, and if they don't, they're taking their land. Now, what is behind that too? I mean,
land grab.
Are they trying to control us more on the grid with these people that have
politically going into the future under socialism or communism? They're going to force you out of your home, basically. If you're a homeowner, if you've bought your home, eventually them bills will get so high and it'll come to a point you might have to sell your home because you can't manage. That's what they're pushing for.
Right.
It's a way of reclaiming land back off you and things like that. It's an unfair system. It's just pure greed, and it's being used to force people out of their homes, basically.
Is it more of a control?
Oh yeah.
For them to put these people on the grid again?
Yeah, as long as
for them to take the land.
As long as you're on their grid, you're paying them their bills that they demand. But it's not their, what people aren't realising, it's not their grid.
Yeah.
We can see it's not their grid. They're just tapping into it and charging us. So yeah, you can see why they don't want anyone to find flat Earth, because you'll see how it works. Look, there's some halos there. Right. Lovely. We're going to do a video about them. We need more and more videos like that, because that's proving the realm right there. That was what Ptolemy factored in his epicycles. That's basically this part of the sun projector.
Right.
You've seen something we're not supposed to see.
Well, I know that the ones that have farming that are off the grids, I think that what they're trying to do is to get these people back on the grid for a reason. I mean, I know it's more control. I know it's more money. But there has to be a reason. That's just what we need to find out. That these farming are also supporting this. I mean, oh gosh, I just don't understand. They're supporting it.
That's at a small local level, they're not seeing what we're seeing, so it's going to be confusing. They're looking at the little picture locality, and people struggling in real life. Real life bites you by the ass, and you've got bills to pay, and they don't wages aren't going up, but everything else is. More dominance and control. Yeah, so You got to, get back to flat Earth and what it's really about, what's been hidden, and that's the only way you're going to change the world. We've got to realise how it works and what's been hidden. It's going to be a slow process, It's going to be a very slow process. People waking up to what this world really is and how it works and what's been hidden.
Yeah.
But every day there's people looking at flat Earth and looking deeper and deeper. But it's the tip of the iceberg because it's what it's hiding. What does flat Earth hide? The globe doesn't work.
I think that flat Earth is over and done, from my view, and this is what I think. Maybe I'm right. I'm not sure, but I think that.
One's mic's broke.
What was I gonna say? Oh my gosh. Let me refresh my mind a little bit back. I just said a PB.
I forgot.
I know, I was hearing a lot of static and I just was hearing the static. Oh my Lord Jesus. Let me see. Oh, that's what. Okay, I'm done and over with flat Earth. I think flat Earth is just a way to keep us busy on flat Earth.
It's the tip of the iceberg, It's the tip of the iceberg, really, because once you find flat Earth, then you have to start really looking at it and see how it works, because it's not a spinning ball.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I know what you're saying. Flat Earth for us was probably about 2 years ago. It's beyond. Since then, it's been, the quest to find how it works. What is it? How does it work? And that's what our research has all been about. How does it work? How do we factor in everything to make it work? Well, luckily we've got the blueprints, Ascalene blueprints, seabed blueprints. There's things everywhere. You can scriptures, glyphs, real world data. It's all coming together into this model. Now, I've heard mentioned saying, it's just CGI, but at the end of the day, that's all any of us can do is make a CGI model of how we think it works, or what we're presented with. Like a world map or a model like this, either way you look at it, it's always going to be CGI, because without real world exploration and live coverage, you're never going to see what it is, and even then it's too vast to take into one video.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, whatever they know, we don't really know yet. I mean, until you guys research it, get deeper in this. I need to get into this too, because there's a lot of questions that it's in my mind. Why, right?
Yeah.
But they're pushing more about our grid.
Yeah, it's just part of what they'll always do.
Yeah, I know.
That's what keeps them in power, isn't it?
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Nah, it needs serious change, and it's not going to be overnight. But the more people come to flat Earth, the more people is going to realise what this world really is and how it really works, and only then can you start seeing change, or any possible chance of change happening.
Right. Well, they want us to focus on flat Earth for sure.
Yeah, well, for us it's flat. We know it's flat. We don't need to look at debate streams or find proofs. I've seen enough proofs to tell me what it is and what it isn't. Pretty sure one's the same.
Well, I think everybody should research on the grid, because it has a lot to do whatever they're planning on our grid.
Yeah, if anyone out there's got research of any kind they're doing flat Earth, get this map and grid off us and try overlaying it on it and see if it makes any sense to what you're looking at. That's what we would recommend.
Right.
I think you'll get a big surprise how your research overlays with this grid and map. That's the best way of putting it.
And again, it connects to the halo, so it connects underneath.
There's lots of overlays we can put on this grid. Not just ours. You can put stars, planets, everything on this grid, and just to see how it looks and how it would work. That does need done. It has to, like any model, it has to be proven, and that's what we're doing. We're proving it through any means we can. We'll look, like I said, we look at a little part of it, we'll decode a piece of it, see how that works, and then one will do lots of research into that area and come back with a presentation, and we'll present that and decode even more. That's basically how we've been working.
Now, when you're washing a load, okay, and you take out your clothes, and you have that electricity that's, with your clothes, there's electricity,
static,
and you stick together, and it gives static, yeah. Now, it's like almost like what we're talking about right now in our world, and these areas, these states that I've been mentioning. I think that it's just exactly when there's static with your clothes, electricity, that when you touch it, it shock you, right?
Oh, yeah,
so it's almost like what is it, like an idea, an idea.
You'll find
how it can work on the grid.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, you'll find they don't teach anything about static electricity anymore, and it's very important because it shows you it's there ready to be harnessed. That's what I'm saying. It's all around us. There's ways and means of harnessing that energy. We're just not looking at them. That's about utilising the grid that's already here. The grid that's already here below. There's enough there for everyone to ever need power forever, basically. But beyond that, if you wanted to harness them separately, then that's one way. I'm pretty sure there's ways of harnessing static. They'll know all the ways of harnessing. They just look for the big output one, which is the easy one, really. Plug everyone into the grid that already exists. Put a few power plants here and there and pretend they're running things, and then take them apart and build another. Just an illusion. Take them all away and they'll still run. Everyone's still plugged into the grid now. It's not going to stop.
Right.
As you'll notice, if that power plant gets decommissioned and vanishes, you're not going to notice because you're still on the grid. So what are you really connected to? Obviously it wasn't that power plant. You're connected to something else.
Now, will they shut down more nuclear plants?
Yeah,
Think so?
I think by design, they're designed to cost money, generate certain people lots of money, and then they'll slowly vanish and dismantle them. We've seen that ongoing for quite some time now. Various plants popping up, they don't seem to make much profit, and then they vanish. But they've actually made a lot of profit because the plant's been built from public money. There's contractors and owners being paid huge amounts of money for it. They're basically supposedly giving you free energy. You're paying for it, but when they go, you find you're still paying the same bill, even though that plant's no longer giving you energy. So what was it giving you in the first place? Probably nothing. I think everyone's already plugged into the grid, and they're just pretending. There's probably a central point somewhere where what's really monitoring who's getting what. Because these plants will come and go, and no one seems to notice any difference, which tells you, you're already part of some bigger grid.
I know that I know for a fact because it happened to me. When you're at a store and you charge someone, you hit it with the static. Don't know why, but you do. You charge people and you get that, static on that person or that person to you. So, why is that? I mean, don't understand
it's movement,
either.
Isn't it? And it's movement and materials basically that's attracted it.
Yeah.
Motion, you just need a bit of motion to produce something. Like to go back to particle acceleration. You've got a laser light creating material going through a single or double slit slot. Because it's accelerating the light through a tiny slot. It can produce particles.
Empress said Santa Cruz is ran with no nuclear energy. I wonder how that happened. Empress, can you find out why they're not using the nuclear energy?
If they were already running before that plant, then it tells you right there that plant's never had anything to do with their energy. It's just a front.
True.
They just put it there and you pretend you're generating stuff, and then it will vanish again. But you will not see the difference. you're still getting electricity. So it tells you,
So
you can tell right from there you weren't even anything to do with that energy plant. You're already on a grid somewhere else.
mm,
So what's it really doing? Waste,
right.
waste,
And
waste,
Cruz is right
wasting
next
public money.
to. It's right next to a big super volcano.
So can that
Plenty of energy
can
there
we
then.
use? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Can we use it from there then? We have so many of them around the world, right?
Well,
What?
there's going to be an accelerator below every volcano, that's for sure.
And the super ones are big accelerators that can spread energy to miles and miles and miles.
Yeah.
So how many do we have in the United States? One
How many what?
volcanoes.
Oh, gee.
How many what?
Volcanoes. Okay,
Oh.
so we have we have the whole east or west coast of America and Canada are full of volcanoes, all
Right.
the way down through Mexico, all the way down through South America, all the way across the equator. There's lines and lines of them on the ocean floor. We have all over the East Coast. There's just lines and lines, hundreds. I couldn't even count them.
Not,
So on
not to mention lava tubes.
Yeah. Oh my
So
goodness.
so all America has them, right? Is that correct?
Well, West Coast. So actually, my Google is open, and I might be able to share that. I couldn't share that picture earlier because I would have showed the link.
Mm.
So, West Coast America. So see the big uplift here? Do you see my mouse?
Are you sharing it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So
Wow.
area, my whole mouse where I'm moving around. So starting here at Yellowstone, all down through here, they say is like volcanoes and extinct volcanoes. Then here in New Mexico, right about here, we have another super volcano. And then right over here, we have another one. So we have these three. And I am almost positive that these things are all connected, which would make all of this very dangerous and very energized.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and you can see the tubes.
Yeah.
Now, does it
One big
connect?
system.
Mm. Yep.
One, so does it connect all America? That's what I'm trying to find out. Does it connect all America?
I would say yes,
just-
because I would say follow the what they call the tectonic plates. Interior. Right up
That's
like
also a
this.
chakra location, isn't it? One.
Yeah, right here somewhere. That is one of our chakras, and then we have another one down here. Okay, and then we have another one down here. But America, this is connected one through these crystal caves, which start here and run the entire span to like Kentucky. So these are those crystal caves, which are energy. These tectonic plates, which is all of the West Coast, and it comes up and around, does this N shape and runs up the East Coast. Yes, I think connected through the tubes. You look at the topography and the rivers. The rivers follow it. Yeah. I don't know if the water's generating the power or the land's giving away. Yeah, it's all connected.
If you remember the 12 Gates
all-
presentation as well, this is one of the locations that the sun visits on its 12 Gates route back to the east.
Yep.
You know, lots of correlations going on, isn't there?
Now, can they trigger to have earthquakes then?
Yeah, it's part of the process.
And they're exploding little by little underneath.
Well,
Does it make us
quakes,
to have earthquakes?
quakes, we relate more to the technology coming online. When it switches on, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna generate a big pulse of energy, and it'll cause a quake. You know, we think this
The,
is by design. It's this technology switching on.
now, up north, okay, the first time it happened, it's Black Canyon City where they felt it. And it was pretty strong for us to see, feel it a little bit in that area. Now, does it connect we're talking about? Because that's the first time we had it in that area, really feeling it there. And it hit like twice this earthquake in Black Canyon City. Does it connect? Is there something there? I don't know.
Yeah. Quakes follow, for the most part, the grid that FPV is laid over the map. So a
Right.
lot those are the quake paths, and those are very close to most of what they call the tectonic plates. So
Okay.
when I first started trying to understand this, I thought about it like, okay, so if two people were to hold something very long and metal and it hits on one end, the vibration would blah, 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 blah down it, and you would feel it on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how this is working. So if a technology turns on below and it makes it jar and shake, then you're going to feel it on the other end of that plate. It may take a moment to get there, but once it does get there, you will feel it, and it may even decrease as it travels. But that's what's happening with these earthquakes. They're just literally traveling the grid, and it starts up in one area, which I think a lot of the deep earthquake spots are where something really, really starts up at times, and they fall on, the super volcanoes and stuff like that. So,
And it relates to the paths of the luminaries, doesn't it, one?
yes, yep. So when these things are changing, starting up, doing what they do, it's sending the energy and it's following the grid. And it's hitting in different weak spots along the way, which could be
Right.
weakened by creator or natural, or it could all be man-made. It could be weak spots from now. It could be weak spots from our past where they've fracked. And then, this time around, we've learned to frack again. And we don't know what happened in the past. A lot of this still could be weak spots because of man, or it could be natural places that creator intended this energy to be released at. Anyway it goes, the fracking is messing it up. It's changing the path of the energy. So like the New Madrid, south of me, in the United States, used to be a massive place that used to get very, very big earthquakes. Now we don't get any earthquakes there at all, hardly. Very, very few, because of the fracking in Oklahoma. So Oklahoma takes the release now, so they get tons of earthquakes, and we don't get hardly any.
I
So
thought Oklahoma and Kansas, they get more tornadoes. Man-made, of course. Mm,
or the halos that are over it, right, FPV?
Yeah. Yeah, Tornado Alley, I would say clearly places like that, you know, the very powerful ones down below. You only have to look at the tornado and, you know, that's spiraling up towards the invisible halo in the heavens. That's what's attracting them, you know, that's how they generate. Watch a dust devil.
no,
If you watch a dust devil forming, that could easily be one starting up, and it just gets bigger and
no, for
bigger.
example, no,
Well,
for
and
example, I'm not sure this is correct. I'm just putting thoughts out there. Now, when Mexico lost all these territories, it has to be a reason too that our government knew what's there. This is why they took the territories away from them.
Oh yeah.
Nazca line show you
Is
what's
it
where. Yeah.
okay?
If you use the
That's
Nazca line overlays, that shows you exactly what's where, and you can see why there would be interest in those locations.
Can you
right.
put a picture of the map up with the grid
I won't
so
make
they
a,
can see what's
we're not
where?
making a
You
mess.
see, this is why that our territories, these territories, when they were taken over from the United States, they knew from the get-go what they had. Okay, so this is why they brainwashed this person. I forgot his name, but maybe Empress knows this person when they got him drunk. What they say, he signed some kind of a paper, and this is how they got the territory. But again, they were not taught. They only go up to school a certain age or a certain grade, and they brainwash them, just like they did with with this man when they took the territories. They knew and they planned to take all this away. It's not more about the war that they were having. It's more about taking control of these territories for these grids,
Yeah.
see? Or it could be for other things like oil, or we
Or,
have gold. They
yeah.
had gold. I
That's
mean,
it. It's all the natural resources as well as what's down below. They're going to get your country into debt.
right.
I mean, Venezuela currently is a very good example. So they will push socialism so it collapses your country. Then come the bailouts and loans, and they're basically taking ownership of your country. They're stealing your sovereignty. So
Exactly.
that's the important
Yeah,
thing.
but
You've got to
it's
keep your sovereignty and nationalism. They're trying to, they're trying to call it racist. It's not racist. It's nothing to do with racism. That's their way. That's like a tantrum. That's just them throwing tantrums because they can't get their own way. And what they want,
exactly. This is why,
what they want is that grid.
right? Exactly. This is why they
Yeah,
destroyed
there's a good
Venezuela.
example there. Can you see that dot on the grid where one was pointing? You can see there, one on the grid, what's over near the States on that grid. Around the States, Canada, Greenland, it's very important locations here. And when you look at the first video, how I came to it, I realised that they'd seen and decoded the Nazca lines, and it showed them what was where in the world. Now, I thought they'd done it in the 1900s, but when you look at Tesla's work on accelerators, it tells me it was done in the 1800s. They found all this out sometime in the 1800s, possibly even sooner. And it's been all about taking over these regions, one way or another,
Yeah.
through wars or political muscle, however you want to call it, vote rigging. This is what you've seen that going on currently. To say the same's going on in Europe as in the States. They're using immigration now to fiddle votes. Basically, they're bringing mass amounts of immigration in under the guise of refugees. But these are refugees. These people are coming from all areas, not just Syria. And Syria, as an example, our nations are bombing the crap out of this place. We shouldn't even be there. It's not, why are we there? What's going on? It's, you get into politics, but this is the politics behind it. In reality, it's very political.
Yeah.
Especially, you can look at some of the locations on that grid, and you can see why.
Right. Well, like
That's not something we're going to step into and start pointing fingers at people because we don't know. Because at the end of the day, how many people really know what the hell's going on? I would say the amount of people that really know what this world is not going to be a very high number. They're not going to want to give this information out. So
right.
they have to push the alien agenda, don't they? Or it's technology from aliens. Well, we know that's bullshit. Outer space is bullshit.
Yeah.
Globe's been debunked. So it's coming from below, the technology.
That, that's why Venezuela now, Puerto Rico. There's something there too that they want from Puerto Rico, of course, but Venezuela, for us in our eyes, is like you said, an example that can happen to any country.
Oh
you
yes,
know,
yeah.
on
It's
the
happened in Europe.
America.
You know, it's happening in Europe. Greece is paying for a debt that wasn't even theirs. You
Yeah.
know, the EU got their Greece and the IMF got Greece into debt, and now they're suffering because of it.
Yep. It's like Haiti when that big earthquake hit them. Hugo Chavez was a president of Venezuela. He said it just like this, and forgive me, but he said President Bush is Satan, okay? He's a devil. That's what he said. Now, Hugo, rest in peace, he knew the information pretty good because he was into the, this cult, you can say the Illuminati's or whatever he was in, okay? He directly gave a message to Bush. So when he gave that direct message is because he knew that they were taking his country away little by little. And they succeed because he's no longer, and the vice president is now president, which he brought more Venezuela down big time, So
Well,
we know that there
apparently one
are,
of the Bushes owns quite a bit of land in Paraguay, South America. So it should,
right,
so
I
you go back
know,
to these companies that's pushing these agendas. They're all getting very rich from it and buying land in locations. It seems. It's more people behind the hiding of what's really going on and getting rich from it.
right. I know Venezuela had a lot of oil for sure,
I mean,
100%, a lot.
the resources Venezuela's got, they should never be a poor nation ever. It's just been badly managed by puppets pretending to run the country.
True,
But they run it into the
true,
ground.
true.
They bring socialism, and it's just the road to communism. I don't care how you word it. Socialism is communism. It's the same thing, just a different variant of it. But it all leads to communism at the end. I think it was brought up at the United Nations speech recently about
There,
the state of Venezuela.
right. There was a man, I forgot his name. God, my gosh. What's his name? What's his name? I don't remember his name, but he talked about all this that's they're planning, um, trying to take over America.
They
And
took over it at the end of
he's,
World War II, basically.
well, they already did, you know. Hatiti, I think that's how you pronounce it. My language today is bad. But one of the men said reason why it happened to that earthquake, 7 point whatever, where a lot of people died, is because they want the resources of them, which is who's behind it. Of course, we know it's Clinton. But there was a gentleman, he was talking about it, how they were trying to take over their country to get their resources,
Yeah, that's all
which
it's
they have a
that's
lot too.
that's all it's about. Land and resource
Right,
grabbing.
right, right.
Yeah, you
And a
can
lot
see
of
the
these,
same thing happening everywhere, can't you? It's the same people pushing it everywhere.
right. And a lot of these countries in America, they don't have grid at all. They're off the grid.
And there's no reason for that when you look at the grid. Look, it goes everywhere.
Yeah, but
Most of the world's covered by that grid.
yeah. And sooner or later, I feel that we're going to go back the way it used to be off grid. I think that's what they want us to have too
It might come to
after.
that. Yeah. If this,
Yeah,
if the people are revealing too much, they'll probably shut the internet down anyway, and power grids. They'll have to come up
yeah,
with some fake alien agenda or some bullshit, won't they? They operate.
right.
Be national disasters or something. But yeah,
Yeah,
when you look how they operate, they destroy from within. They get into your politics, they try to steer your country down the wrong path, and then it just gets into debt. False debt, fake debts, fake wars, bullshit really. Then they start taking over your borders, your sovereignty, they take your national treasures. Yeah, they're doing a very good job of hiding our history.
exactly.
Yeah, that's all it's about, the hiding history and how the world works. Anything that gives the game away, they're going to remove it, and you'll find a lot of museums have been plundered of these very artifacts that reveal, this is a bit more than just a world, it's a technological construct. A lot of museums in Iraq and Syria have been ransacked, and items sold on the black market. So that's you got to think of that. What are they hiding and stealing? Artifacts that show the world work, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah, giants and titans, they're trying to hide them in history. Yet they mentioned in scripture, you can see them as petrified species all over the landscapes. You can't ignore them. One or two, yeah, you could say, oh no, it's just that's how that rock was formed. But when you see the likes of what Jimbo and Roger at Mud Fossil University, sure, you just can't. These are giants and titans clearly littered the landscapes, and they're trying desperately to hide that. It's such a vast scale; it's impossible for them to hide it all.
So, one NFPV, this is a question. Do you think this is why it's all about the grid? Is it?
Yes. Yes, it's all about hiding what the grid is and where it came from. Because at the end of the day, you're going back to the creator who created this. Clearly, it's someone of gigantic proportions, or giants and titans were employed to help build it and then destroyed at the end of it, possibly. That would be my theory on what's happened.
Yeah.
What about you, Juan? What do you think?
Yeah. It's all to do with the grid. Everything. I mean, anything we've looked at has to do with the grid.
Yeah, it all goes back to a grid, doesn't it? And the technologies that's been hidden. And the underworld, how it works.
And we've looked at everything.
Everyone in flat Earth, everyone in flat Earth, and probably a lot of flat Earthers have seen things wrong in this world that don't make sense on a globe, and they're gonna, the answer's not there for them until you start looking at how this world really works. So, I would say a lot of our research answers questions for a lot of people we haven't even met yet. We're going to meet someone one day, they're going to say, that just answered a question I had, or something that worked. That they'd worked out, but they didn't know what it related to. It's gonna happen. It has to happen. People's gonna, they're gonna, like people that watch stars and planets and things, they're gonna see things that make sense in this model, but they don't on the globe. And I think that's what everyone's finding. Whatever research you're doing in flat Earth or beyond, not even in flat Earth, they're gonna come across anomalies that they can't explain on a globe. So yeah, all roads lead to hiding the construct and everything that involves. Because at the end of the day, we came to flat Earth to find out what this world is and how it works. That was my questions, and I'm sure it was pretty much everyone else's. What is it and how does it work? And I think there's more than enough evidence now, research, to show you there's a technological construct. There's still more to come, we've still got some more research to show you yet that we've done. You'll see things that relate to things in the sky even more. To the point where I don't know why you would be denying it. If you're not getting it by now from watching our research, we don't know how else to put it to you. We're doing it in the easiest terms we can possibly to put it across, because it does, it does affect what people believe in scripture and everything. Scripture isn't what I thought it was. It decodes as completely different information to what I understood it to be. I'm new, by the way, I'm new to scripture. I've never read scriptures before until I started doing this research, and since I have, I can see exactly what it's relating to, and it's all to do with this grid and how it works. What about you? What about you? What were your conclusions on that? The scriptures that we've looked through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all, not a lot else I can add to that. It's all following the grid. Everything. We've looked at so much stuff. And amazingly, it all falls in very special areas. That's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that everything from temples to earthquakes to volcanoes to ley lines to luminaries and their paths to
Until now,
power
right? Maybe
plants.
in the future.
Yeah, power plants, weather mod stations, you name it, it's on this grid.
It's
Yeah.
all about the grid.
Go through any one's videos and she'll show you all the approaches she's took to these same conclusions. She's the one's been down to hell and heaven and everywhere else in between with her research. Haven't you? Well, I mean that big map you had alone. There was a lot of work just in that map on your wall.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
And then
everything.
how many hours you put into these lines on the ocean floors? I can't imagine. It's a lot.
Okay, so Rab wanted to know about
PV and one, sorry to interrupt. Empress says, you guys have done a great work, which is true. You guys have.
Thank you very much, Empress.
Thank you.
We do our bit. No, we won't.
Rab was asking about, and if I pronounce it wrong, I'm sorry, Kazakhstan.
Yeah, that's right, Kazakhstan, yeah.
So, which is right next to, just so that person knows, the Aral Sea. And remember FPV, we were looking at the Aral Sea right there in the Middle East. And didn't we conclude that's an angel?
Yeah.
That's the spot?
Yeah, there's a spot there nearby that, yeah. That's also the place.
So you're very close.
That's also the place that they have the alleged spacecraft, come re-enter and land. Where you see them picking them up, it drops at the sky like a like a brick. It's obviously being released from a plane or a helicopter on a parachute. Hits the ground at about 200 mile an hour. Then a guy climbs out in his space costume, and they carry him away as though he's just landed. That's the same place, Kazakhstan.
And Kazakhstan is only 370 miles from this angel, so yeah, there'd be a lot of energy.
Well, that's going to be a military site for sure then. So yeah, no one's going to have access there, and that's how they're getting away with these re-entry craft landing there. No one's going to notice it because it'd be like an Area 51 off limits to people.
I just want to say something to chats. Glad you're all here. China, I just sent you a message. Sorry I didn't make it on your panel. Bev is here. And Josh, thank you for coming too. I miss your live streams. Who else is here? Let me see. Chris Hayes is here.
Hey, people's in chat. How are you doing?
Flat Earth.
I can't see
Flat
the
Earth
chat.
Underground's here.
Yeah, for you. Yeah, sorry guys, I can't actually see the chat. I've got that many windows open. I don't want to disturb what I've got on screen here.
Rab is here, and he says there's a lot of the lines going to Kazakhstan. I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah. Maybe another huge energy site, for sure. All these angels still need mapped on the grid, guys. They're everywhere. Remember, in Scripture, there's 144,000 sealed. This is the seal in Scripture. The seal below in what they would call sarcophagi. This is the angels or the accelerators in the underworld, so they're going to be all over the place. I would say, going by Scriptures, there's 12,000 in each 12 segments of the what do you call it again? The zodiac. But we're finding but some research. I'm just going to say, some research we're looking at that one's doing, the zodiac might not be the shape that you think.
Also, Joe was here. She said hi, PV.
Hey, Joe. Yeah, sorry I can't see you guys in chat.
Yeah. She was here. I think she's gone already.
Oh well.
Yeah. So we miss Joe Davis as well. But and with all this, we all know it's the grid and the lies and the mind control and man-made weather. I mean, all this stuff. Pretty soon, our food has. Well, I think it already started. Our food is also in jeopardy as well. So, I mean, there's so much out there that it's happening to all of us around the world, and a lot of us are still sleeping, and we're not. They're not awake, and I wish they were, because if the more people are waking up, the more we can fight them, right? These governments. But unfortunately, they're not waking up because they've been more mind control. These countries that cannot defend themselves, like in America.
From a flat Earth
Um,
viewpoint, cats, what we do need is scientists waking up to and realising what we're showing them is really what's going on and not what they've been told. A lot of them probably already know it. They just don't know what to relate it to yet.
yeah. But, there's so much that they're doing to us. They're doing to this planet. And finding out why, the reasons, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Juan?
Yeah, we're finding out the reasons. They're sucking the grid, the energy out of it, selling it to us. It's all about money.
Yeah, that's true. Hmm. Well, I don't know.
Do you guys want to call it a day there?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get something
Yeah,
to eat.
yeah, and I gotta get going. I still have some work to do. I'm supposed to be doing it, my jobs. But yeah, I had to take a break this morning a little bit because I'm very tired. I really am. I'm exhausted. But I gotta do what I gotta do, right?
Yep, you got to do what you
But
got to do.
yeah, it was just a question about. Oh, okay. Um, do you want to answer that question one? Rab's talking about? You guys know more than I do
I mean, yeah, I
before we
can
leave.
real quick. I can I can show them, you know, better than I can explain it, because I don't know what lines. Maybe one of my videos, but Kakistan is right here, and the RLC is right here. It's only about 370 miles. This is a very special spot.
You zoom in on it one, you might just see them marks. There is something there I was line tracing. I don't know if you... It's on the left side of that bluish coloured water.
Yeah. I know these are lines just marking places.
Back in a minute, guys.
Off the borders. Okay. So this spot right here, we kind of pinpointed it as being one of the accelerators that we talk about. We refer to them as angels in scripture. That's what they were referred to. So Kakistan is very, very close. And if you follow, the topography of the land, it does lead right up to it. It's round, kind of shoots there. And that's how I...
Well, it looks like a big footprint.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it does look like a footprint. It sure does, with some toes. I mean, and you'd be amazed at some of the crazy stuff that you see.
Yes, when was it? Wednesday I went
right
to Payson, and I saw a bunch of clouds shaped with different things. I was just like, oh my God,
Yep, so
But, yeah.
Kakistan
And I was looking at the
here.
mountains.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy. In America, I see giants and land, but...
I'm back.
But even over on this side of this Arl Lake, we have a very major power plant with lots of fracking going on. So if you want to look up fracking and how it itself looks like a circuit board
If you zoom
and
out
how
a little bit
close it
there,
is.
one, that's Astrakhan.
It's what?
That's Astrakhan. That's where one of the dots is on the grid. It means star god.
Oh,
Right where that green bit is.
okay.
That's
All
on our
right,
grid.
and look,
Yeah, it's Astrakhan.
they have got a major power plant sucking energy out of this and fracking operations.
Yeah.
So if you want to look up fracking operations, this is what they look like. They look like a little circuit board, and when you zoom in, you'll actually see the pump, and a lot of them have little cooling lakes, and they have little pumps, and you see them.
Yeah.
So this is a fracking operation, and when you zoom
Rab,
out,
I think it's a way
every
of locating energies then by the look of it. Now looking
yeah,
at where
it
it is, yeah.
is, and I mean,
I can show
I
you.
started outlining it a bit.
If you zoom out a bit one and just pan right back to where that lake was, I'll show you where the more ancient site was.
Okay, so right.
Hold on a sec. Back in a minute.
hey, Juan,
Uh-huh.
Rab saying, are Google Maps knowing to block or blur out stuff?
Oh yeah.
I think they
oh
do.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of places that they've blurred it to where you can't really see what's there. I'm speculating they're hiding some major energy lines that they just can't hide.
Right, pan the left
Right.
one to the left side of that water.
Okay.
The left,
Right
the
here?
left, zoom in to see where the dark green is, to the left of there.
The dirt. Right, down
On the
here.
left?
Yeah, somewhere on that
Okay.
region is where I've been doing some line work on something. You have to zoom in more on that
Okay.
left side of the bank.
Oh yeah. Let me turn it. There.
Yeah.
Right.
Zoom out a bit, too zoomed in there. And go north.
Right there.
Go upwards from there. No, there's a big site.
Isn't it on the
You
on the
zoom out a
south
bit more and
side?
then
Wait.
you zoom out a bit more and keep going towards that landmass at the top of the map. Yeah, keep going that way. And
This
there
way?
there is something on the landmass over there. I've line traced it before. I just can't. You'd have to put the map the right way up. I can't tell where we're looking here. But it
Now
looks,
we're facing the wrong way. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like an ancient site of something similar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's probably going to be hard to
gosh,
see.
I'm not good at this. I'm not good at finding things.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's two of us.
But you can see there was like you can see like
yeah.
see them straight lines going across the map. There was like loads of them coming off it.
Yeah, there is. I was actually seeing that when I was zooming in over on the other side that, wow, there's a lot of lines here.
That could be it further north.
Wow.
See where all them dots are further north. That might be it. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
a similar
over
it's a
here.
similar looking
Okay.
site to what you showed as a fracking site.
Yeah, so it could have been an older fracking site,
Yeah.
more ancient one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a lot of lines. Oh. Might be roads, I don't know, it's
You
hard
can see
to
it
tell.
better. You can see it better on mine, but I'm not going to load it up now. I'll
Yeah.
probably make a mess of the screens I've got on here.
Mm.
Keep
But
that
yeah,
for
so
keep
the
that for
Arl-
another time.
The RLC is
Yeah.
just a very special spot. And then not to mention also, here again is Kakistan.
Kazakh.
And right about here, sorry, right about here is yet another angel. It'd be right about in that spot. So it's sandwiched between two major energy sources.
Yeah, lots of energy there then to harness.
Well, that would be another hangout on this. I mean, there's so much info there, just there. So we can do
Yeah.
another research hangout.
Yep. And we could also show temples. because the temples follow all of this, all these amazing India temples. They also follow this right here. Pretty
Yeah,
cool. A
because
lot of stuff.
yeah. Yeah, because we have I want to know if these lines are connected to Nazca lines too. But that's another research that hangout, we can have. But yeah. But anyways, I gotta get going. You have to get going one, of course, FPV. So I'm just gonna say this, like I always say, thank you for coming, supporting this channel, everybody that's seeing this, and those that are gonna see it. And of course, all the people that came from other live hangouts that are not part of, Flat Earth or any of this, that they're coming to understand, hopefully, and know about it. Everyone that came and support me too, like used to, I go to their channels as well. But I thank you all, and hopefully I do another hangout soon. I'm not sure. Hi, Big Nicks. Um, we'll see. Again, hopefully you guys have more information, whatever research you're still doing. I don't know about Jimbo if he has more info. Oh, so hopefully we have another one soon.
Yeah,
But I
no,
appreciate
always
it,
something new.
honestly. I appreciate it, PV, and one that you guys put all your effort, your doing this research, your hours, the days. It counts. It's good for us to understand this, what you guys are doing. Um, I thank you guys, honestly. So, but anyways, I'm gonna get going. You guys have a good day, a good Friday. Don't party, don't get drunk, don't drive. Have a good weekend,
Do it.
and hopefully we see you all soon. But stay out of trouble, really. Here in our state, our police officers are really hard on us right now. I don't know why, but where I live, they are, and I don't know why, but they're very. I know it's the holidays. I know that's why they're trying to give tickets out to make their what is it called merits that they have to.
The
I
quota.
guess, yeah. So that's where they're being hard on us right now, money wise again. But oh well, it's what they're doing. But anyways, again, we're leaving, and thank you all for coming. And those are gonna watch this again, and those are watching. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we
So,
do too.
but one before we leave, and FPV, please put your links out there so they can see your work and your channels as well. So before we leave,
Yeah, I'll put it underneath the video. I'll normally comment under the video when it compiles it on your channel, so I'll just drop links there for them. But yeah, thanks everyone. It's been a great pleasure.
Yep, thank you
okay,
much. And I'll put your link in the chat, FPV. Also,
yeah.
if they want it.
Cheers, one. Right, bye everyone. Catch you again.
Have a good day.
Bye.